Hi, welcome. I'm Derek Lanakila with Volcano Island Haven, and today we are talking with Elisa Chastain from the lovely state of California, up in Northern California. And Elisa has agreed to share her story. She's not getting compensated for this now or in the future. This is just something she's freely sharing about her experiences so far working with me. So Elisa, why don't you take it away and share a little bit about why you sought me out, what was going on with you, and we'll go from there.
Okay, thank you, Derek. I really appreciate this opportunity to share my story with, people that may be considering using you for your amazing skills and gifts. Yeah, I guess to start with, I'd like to go back to, a little bit history, because really when my challenges with my health started was as a young girl, probably like teenage years, where when young people, you think you've got like this abundance of energy. My energy started waning towards my late teens and early 20s. I came from a family that there was a lot of addiction challenges with alcohol and drugs, multiple people. So it was a little chaotic and things progressed, as time went on, as they do with those kind of disorders. So it was a little chaotic in the home, highly stressful. I also developed scoliosis when I was a teenager. And so by the time, Derek, I got to my early 20s, I was trying to really pull things together when I felt very fractured. And, I started to seek out answers. And, my energy was starting to, like, I could go out and do something athletic and fun, and then I would have to sleep for a few days to recover, which wasn't right for that age group. Nobody I knew felt that way. So I was kind of embarrassed by all of that. I was embarrassed by the scoliosis, my family, and all of this. So I really started protecting myself and really trying to do this inner search of what's happening. So I really just the next 20, 30 years or more, I continued that search on all different levels. I sought out different kinds of healthcare practitioners around the country, whether they're like real hot naturopaths, acupuncturists, doctors of Chinese medicine, chiropractors, like you name it. I tried at the physical level to sort things out. I worked on myself emotionally to balance and to recover from all the stress of my childhood. I sought out my spirituality, of the questions of what's really going on. Why is this all happening? Why am I here? What am I doing? So my life has really been focused on those three key areas. And while I'm in this pursuit, I felt like emotionally things were balancing out. Spiritually, I was growing. Physically, I was declining. Up until the last few years, like when menopause hit and all those challenges, it really started tanking, which was so not just disconcerting, but it was really scary for me, because here I have been doing like so many things that would be like considered the right things, yet I wasn't getting, things weren't turning around. I always went back to like this default physical level. Do you know what I mean by that? It's like I was like
Mhm.
set at a certain phase or a certain way of being, and I couldn't get out of it, and by the time I started looking online, and I found, Derek, that I was really desperate, I'm going to cry on this. I was just really desperate because the next step was going to be bedridden, because I could see that coming. And it was so sad for me, because I felt like all the work I'd done to grow spiritually and balance myself emotionally was all going to be for naught, because this physical vessel was tanking, and so I just thought, well, it's just something other than where I've been doing. I've been doing like all the right things. It's not working. I need to get outside the box, and I need to look at higher levels. I need to look at find somebody that can look spiritually, karmically. I mean, like something else is going on, and I don't have the keys to it. So I just happened to find Derek online, and it was, serendipitous, whatever you want to call it, fate. But I was just so impressed with his website, just the professionalism of it, and then just people's stories and their messages. And I just felt drawn to him. So I made the wonderful decision to call him and have a consult. So does that help kind of set a little background, Derek?
That does. Thank you for sharing. Thank you for sharing all of that. Now, you also did Western medicine. Did you go to regular doctors to try to find help with this as well?
No, I lost faith in them very early on. I guess maybe my own intuition. I never did because they, even recently we belonged to a Kaiser thing, and I went in to just have my yearly, you know, physical, and I described all these symptoms. I'm just curious to see what they have to say about it.
Yeah.
But brushed it, you're fine. Blood work came back, you're fine, great, enjoy life. It's like, oh my God, I'm so not fine. This was several months ago before we started working together. It's like, I am so not fine, but no, I never did go that route. For whatever reasons, I did not have faith in them. I'm not really sure what was that trigger, but I just didn't have faith in them from the get-go. So I've been doing alternative, which is
Yes.
really poignant because I've been doing alternative all this time and still not getting results.
Yeah. And
Sustained.
what were some of your major symptoms just prior to finding me?
Okay, well, I think it's one of the beauties of working with Derek is that we really quantify things and we write them down. So I have my little list here.
Perfect.
One of the big things was just this crushing sense of fatigue that I shared with you before has followed me my whole life, and it's just gotten worse, where you wake up in the morning and all I can say is like soul crunching tiredness. It's beyond tired. And if any of you are experienced that, what I'm trying to describe, it's just like something is just draining you. So that was like the big thing. My sleep patterns, I've struggled with them through, middle age. Either not being able to go to sleep for hours or waking up around 2 or 3 in the morning and then being awake until time to get up, and then I could sleep, for hours. Digestion issues. I feel like my nervous system has been very stressed, probably adrenal and whatever endocrine things. So my ability to handle stress has gotten was very tricky. I felt like I had my capacity for that was not going as well. And then just like a lot of thirst depending on what I was eating, and brain fog associated with that. I'm a professional woman. I manage a law firm. I also have some of my own businesses. And so there's a lot I have on my plate, but I just feel like my brain power was just kind of like slowly like diminishing in my ability to, think creatively and to, handle so many things that I wanted to do. So that's probably like the big major ones. And then there's just, with all that happens, a disconnect when you feel so bad, a disconnect emotionally, a disconnect, just with all the other enjoyable parts of life. They just aren't as enjoyable anymore.
Yes, thank you for sharing that. So I want to just mention to everybody watching that a lot of the symptoms that many of you are going through that find me, and including Elisa, when somebody looks at you, you look fine. You look healthy. When you go, in her case, going into the doctor's office, they even ran all the blood tests after she told them, all these different things that were happening for her, and they said everything's fine. You're just, I don't know what they say, get more rest, or whatever they said. And that's really common that I hear quite often, that people don't believe you. They don't believe that you're really sick. They don't believe that all this is going on. And I just want to say to all of you watching that this is really common, and don't buy into this is just a mental thing and you're just making it up, or you're just imagining it. Continue to pursue, whether it's me, whether it's with Western medicine, whether it's with other practitioners, continue to pursue and until you find somebody that works for you. So Elisa, why don't you share, let's see here, share what it was like to work with me, and then what started happening for you.
Well, as you can tell, Derek is a very compassionate and kind and generous person. So it was we connected right from the start of the initial consultation. Actually, I have to say that from just the initial consultation, I felt something change and shift in me, and some kind of burden I felt lifted from my heart, and that, I just knew inside that, that there was hope. That's all I can say. It's something I can't put into words, but it was just something I knew. I just knew, and things began to shift actually physically for me with having that hope and having, connecting in with Derek, right from the get-go. I just felt something just sort of lighten up, and then working together.
I want to comment about that for a moment, because I would say maybe 20 or 30% of my clients, once we make the commitment to work together, there's an energy vortex that begins. There's a healing that is already starting to happen. So whether you feel it or not, it's already starting. But I would say about 20 to 30% of my clients will begin to feel some changes happening before I've even done my first treatment. But just from the time that we've actually committed to working together to when we start, whether that's a week later or days later, depending on the wait time.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. That is so true. I mean, I did feel a shift happening within me. I mean, it really started, and the biggest and physical changes, certain symptoms and things just started lessening. A couple of things went away, it was really amazing to me. But the biggest gift of it was it just gave me like hope. And I knew I was in the right place, where I was getting kind of hopeless, that I didn't know anything else I could personally just do on my own. So that was like the big gift of that first consult was, I knew I was in the right place. So, and then starting to work together, I've been keeping like a journal, and every day kind of writing in what I'm experiencing, just to help so that I remember throughout the week. And when it comes time to check in with Derek each week, then I really can give, feedback. Not that I'm forgetting anything, but it's easier when you write it down. So what my process, we've been working together over a month now, and I feel like everything across the board is getting better. Some are moving more quickly, some a little more slowly, but it's all moving. And it's not like when you go to the doctor and you get a prescription or something where, all of a sudden symptoms, just you take a pill and it goes away and you think you're healed. I mean, we're taught that, but that's not healing. And, real healing, it's a slower process. I mean, it can be fast, but it can also be a little slower. And, the currents of love work their way, and they're gentle, and shifts happen gently. And sometimes things disappear and you don't even know, it's so gracious life is, that it goes. So I feel like everything is just on this beautiful, easy trajectory. There's nothing harsh about it. I know when I'm going through like a healing thing, that I'm just more sleepy. I'm not fatigued and, all that. I'm just like sleepier. And I told Eric last week, gosh, starting Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, I was just like sleepy, and it was like my body healing. And, so.
And I want to mention that sleepy that you're talking about is very different from the fatigue. Is that correct?
Totally different. Yes. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Fatigue is like that draining coming out, and where sleepy is just like I'm tired and I'm rejuvenating. There's something life-giving about it, and it's not, it's a totally different thing. So I feel like while things are this steady going up, there's like I wouldn't say there's like waves with it. Like that from Hawaii. There's waves with it, where you kind of, it gently is moving forward. And like I say, in some areas it's been very dramatic and quick. In other areas, I mean, these are like deep patterns. These are deep, spiritual, emotional issues. And they, I imagine they're gonna sort out when they sort out, but they're all going in the right direction. And I just feel like my life is starting to like bloom in just beautiful ways. That is such a gift.
Mm. So on the physical level, I want to say that there's some things that Elisa shared with me that some of the symptoms are completely gone, so 100% healed. Some of them are 80% better. Some of them are 50% better. To varying degrees, but everything's moving in that direction on the physical level. So talk a little bit about we focused a little bit. We focused on both when we first started talking. I had shared with you there's some emotional things to work on, there's some spiritual patterns to work on, and there's physical patterns to work on. And we would probably spend the majority of the time working on the physical patterns. But in order to have the most success with that, we need to work on some of the old emotional beliefs or fears that are going on within your body. We need to look at what spiritually that you brought through that may be blocking you or recreating old ways that have been going on for decades. So talk a little bit about what that felt like and how that changed for you on the emotional spiritual side.
Yeah, absolutely. That I feel like on the emotional side, there's just like a level of tensions that have just relaxed. I'm not quite sure how to explain the invisible, but it just felt like certain tensions were there, like a static almost, some kind of static there that was just always kind of there. And, those have just been like evening out. And I was telling Derek that it's like, I feel like I'm in a place where I know I'm getting, like I'm coming back to who I really am, at all levels, but it's not even a place I've ever been because of all these lifelong challenges. So, coming out emotionally, like I thought I was real balanced before, and now like this whole other world of balance is opening up to me. I thought I was really, worked on myself spiritually, and I'm like really, done all this great stuff, and I have, but it's like new vistas are opening up for me because of all the channels clearing. I feel like life energy is getting through in ways that it couldn't get through. I'm still alive, so it has been getting through, but there's like so many nuances and places where it just wasn't, or was getting distorted. I mean, you could speak to that more, but I felt like it was just distorted coming in or cut off completely, so with that, I feel like emotionally, oh my gosh, I feel like I'm a kind, compassionate, giving person, but there's a different level of the compassion and my ability to love, and that's opening up for me. It's just all increasing. My life is increasing as opposed to, growing older and decreasing, which we're taught to accept, and that wasn't acceptable to me because I feel like there's still like, my major gifts, I'm just coming into being able to share those, takes a while to grow up.
Yeah, we're all continuing to grow up. And to speak a little bit more to that point, when I first started with you, as we talked about, I saw these different patterns. Now, for the viewers, for people who have never worked with me, we don't get into dialogue. We don't get into therapy or processing. I'm not a therapist. I'm an energy healer. So my focus is how do we change or shift the energy patterns within somebody's body in a way that further aligns with what you're wanting. So I'm always going by your goals and what you've come to me for. And so when I see a pattern, when I see an emotional pattern that may be blocking, I may not know what it is. And often I don't know what it is. I just know that it's an old fear, an old pattern. On some level, you're ready to let it go, and you've given me permission to help release that. So when I'm working on somebody, when those come up, then I'll help the body to release them because it's holding on for some reason, on an emotional level and on a spiritual level. So what Elisa is describing is not as a result of any counseling or therapy or anything like that, but really as a result of just the energy work and how she's noticing changes on all the different levels. Anything to add to that?
Yeah, absolutely. We're really trained. We have such active minds, and we want in our minds, we want to understand things and put things in a box. And, that's part of our problem, I think. And one of the challenges is these overactive minds. So it takes a little adjusting, not to go like, so Derek, what exactly was that pattern? And how long have I had? And now what component was it karmic? And what was that life like? I mean, I got an inquiring mind. Oh my God, I would just be
Yes.
peppering him with hours of questions every week. And but to like let that go and just like let the healing just happen and be okay with that, get the mind out of it and just open yourself up to let it be and let it shift without like it's just gone. I have habits I had not been able to kick for years and years and years, and like one of them would be shopping a little too much, and I like, all right, and I use it as a little fix if I'm feeling down or whatever, and I want a little, I think I'll just go out and spend a little money, and feel a little better. That's like, I know that that's not right, but it's just something that's kind of like hooked on that fix. And all of a sudden that fix is just like, it's just not there. And I'm not looking, I don't need to know why. I don't need to know. I just know that that is gone, and I'm not thinking about it. So I'm not reattaching to it. I'm just moving away from it. So things like that is just like, I have different, some shift in my food appetites, shifts in the way I'm approaching things, is just not to analyze it, but just be it and enjoy it and be grateful for it, but it is a challenge, is not like having our mind have to grasp onto it. And I think that's probably why it works so well.
Thank you. So I do want to say that I certainly don't have anything against other kinds of therapies. In fact, I use them myself. I sometimes have counseling therapy for myself if there's something that I want to work through that for some reason's not shifting. And there's a lot of wonderful modalities out there. And I know Elisa's done a lot of work on herself, and often that will help. If you've already done a lot of interpersonal work and you come to me, but things are still going on, often what's happening is there's some sort of hold still within the body. So you've done all the work, all the other work, all the mental, emotional work, and it's still going on. That makes my job easier. That makes, you've done the background stuff, and then I can help release some of that things. Other times it's spiritual stuff. So you've done everything you can in this life, but it's stuff that you brought through that you need help releasing. And maybe it's a karmic pattern, maybe it's something else you brought through, and that you're ready to let go. So it's not that I don't believe in all that stuff, and I get curious too at times of what's going on for myself when I'm looking at things. But we could spend a lifetime looking at all these details, and it's not about that. It's about living your life. It's about living the life that you are meant to live. It's about being in your authentic self more and more. It's about connecting with your spirituality, your religion, your way of being, whatever that is. And I'm not here to impose any beliefs or any way of being, other than help you support you to become more of what you're wanting to become. Would you say that's fairly true experience for you?
100%. Absolutely, 100% accurate, Derek. I feel like my experience of receiving your gifts is opening up the currents of love and healing, and it's not about a why or how or all these questions. It's about allowing it to be, and to be into me, to who I am. There's never a discussion about this, I should believe in this or not believe in that, or, that's a different matter. That's not what he's doing. What he's doing is really allowing to, like, I mean, as you explained it to me, there was like that, I feel like there's this, like a template of who we are. I mean, there is in the spiritual pattern, when you say like a perfect you is like a healthy you with all of that. And then
Yes.
sometimes it just can't get in, and so he helps have that come in. I mean, I still, at some point in my life, I have to confess, I probably want to do a past life regression out of curiosity, because I'm really intrigued.
Sure.
But it's not going to, it's going to be like more curiosity, or at some point farther down the line, but I don't want to get caught up in that, because if I really needed to know it, I would remember it right now. I mean, so it's not intrinsic to this life's experience and stuff, that we know all that, because otherwise we would know all that, but we don't. So,
Yes. Well, thank you very much. I appreciate your willingness to just share from your heart and share your story. I know that there's going to be a lot of people that will relate to what you're going through, and I just want to say again, I really appreciate you're willing to share all
Oh, my pleasure, Derek. Thank you.
that. Okay. Thank you very much. That was wonderful.
Oh, good. I mean, if we can, if my story can help people, I mean, that's I feel like this next phase in life is about helping people in a more direct way. And I don't know what my healing gifts and specifically how they're all going to unfold, but they're, bring it on. That's the best, isn't
Awesome.
it?
Awesome. Okay. Well, we will talk soon. And, again, I really appreciate it. This was perfect. This was just great.
Okay.
All right.
Perfect.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.